Okay, Kevin here with the Office Oasis. Today I want to show everyone how to remove and replace the cylinder in their office chair. First things first, why would anyone want to replace the cylinder in their office chair? Well, maybe after a few years go by, 5 years go by, you've been sitting in the same chair. One day you'll sit in it and it'll sink all the way to the bottom. And instead of buying a brand new office chair, you can simply replace the cylinder that you have and the chair will be good as new. So let's get started. First, the items that you'll need is an old blanket or towel to lay down on your surface. And the reason for that is just to protect the surface that you're working on, whether that's your floor or a table, whatever surface that may be. You'll need a hammer and a paper towel. In addition to that, you'll need the new cylinder and the replacement kit. And the Office Oasis sells a replacement kit that comes with everything that you'd need to remove and replace the cylinder. And inside that kit is the brand new office chair cylinder, the removal tool, which is actually 2 shaft collars, Allen wrench to go with that, and 2 extraction screws. In addition, it comes with a set of gloves which comes in handy, and full instructions. So let's go ahead and get started on the replacement process. So you want to lay the chair on its side on the surface that you're working on, and basically this is the office chair cylinder, and that's what we're removing from the chair. So the first step is to actually remove the cylinder from the top part of the chair. In the past, it was really difficult to remove the cylinder because you'd need a super heavy duty pipe wrench and you'd be over here, prying on the cylinder and it wouldn't budge, it wouldn't move anywhere. So our company, the Office Oasis, kind of invented the office chair cylinder removal tool, and it really comes in handy in times like these. And so the removal tool is actually just 2 pieces of 2 metal pieces that are shaft collars. And the way that it works is you're going to put the shaft collars on the chair cylinder, and it's actually going to act as a simple machine to pry away the cylinder from the office chair top. Before I put the removal tool on the chair cylinder, I'm actually going to grab my paper towel and wipe down the surface because there can be a buildup of oil and grease on the chair cylinder itself, and that'll actually cause the removal tool to slide, and we don't want that. So we'll take the removal tool and remove the 2 screws that connect the pieces together. And once we have 2 separate pieces, we can take that and place it around the chair cylinder. And then go ahead and thread those screws back in and tighten it down. And with this shaft collar, we're going to go ahead and leave it movable so that we can slide it up and down the chair cylinder. And we're going to slide it all the way to the top. And then we'll go ahead and put the second shaft collar on the chair cylinder. Once you have the second shaft collar, we'll set that on the chair cylinder as well and place it around it. Thread in the side screws to tighten the shaft collar around the cylinder. And we're going to snug this one up as well so it's able to slide a little bit. And shaft collar, we're going to slide all the way to the top. We're going to make sure they don't align up with the screw holes that are on the other shaft collar. And then what we'll do is we're going to really tighten this shaft collar all the way down so that way it can't move or slide on the chair cylinder itself. So using the Allen wrench, we'll tighten these screws as tight as you can get it. And once those are really tight, then we'll go to the next step. And the next step is to take these extraction screws that I mentioned, and we're going to thread them into these screw holes on the bottom shaft collar. And you can just screw these in by hand until they reach a stopping point. And basically they're going to bottom out on the other shaft collar. And we'll do this for both extraction screws. All right, so once the extraction screws are in place, then you're going to need your Allen wrench, and we're going to slowly start to tighten them down. And the way that this removal tool is going to work is that these screws are inside the shaft collar are going to start pressing against the other shaft collar, which is able to slide, and slowly pull away the cylinder from the office chair. And you'll see that work within a few turns. So each screw you're going to do a half turn, one at a time. And depending on the chair and how how much of the cylinder is actually inside the chair will determine how many times you'll actually need to tighten these down. In this case, it's only about 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes it could be a 1/4 of an inch, and it should release it. Yep. And so it released it from the office chair. And that's how you remove the top part of the office chair from the chair cylinder. So we can set the top part aside. And now we're left with just the bottom part of the chair. So you could take this top shaft collar, slide it off, set it aside. The bottom one we're going to have to loosen up in order to remove it. Almost tight. Slide that off, set it aside. And what we'll go ahead and do is the next part of this, we'll flip it over. So the next part of this process is to remove the chair cylinder from the chair base. And what I usually like to do first is take out the office chair wheels so they're not flopping around while we're trying to remove it. And office chair wheels, 95% of office chairs have wheels that just kind of pop into the socket. So we'll remove all 5 office chair wheels. Okay, now once the chair wheels are removed, then we can separate the cylinder from the base. And the best way to do that is usually to knock it out with a hammer. And in order to access the cylinder, the best way to do that is kind of contain it into a trash can. In my case, I just have a simple office trash can, and you can set this on your surface, flip the chair cylinder and the chair base on top of it. And what this allows you to do is strike the chair cylinder and remove it from the base without the cylinder falling or hitting the floor or causing any other damage. And so typically with this process, I'll recommend some eye protection. So once you have your eye protection, you can go ahead and begin to remove the cylinder. In some cases, you might want to actually grab like a block of wood and set it on top, just so you don't have that metal on metal contact. But in some cases, that doesn't work. That one's in there tight. And you simply need to use a hammer or a sledgehammer and hit the metal part of the cylinder to remove it. When you're doing this, just be sure to use caution and hit the edges of the cylinder, so that way you're not actually hitting the mechanism part of it. And what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just go ahead and strike this. So that one just took a few hits and it's out. In other cases, it could be more difficult. Maybe you've been sitting in the chair for 3 or 5 years and it's really kind of embedded in there. That does happen. And so in those cases, I typically recommend using some type of lubricating oil or WD-40 and placing it around the edges of the cylinder. And if you let that WD-40 sit overnight or over a few hours, it should kind of loosen it up. And again, instead of using a hammer, you can use a sledgehammer to get more power and force behind the hit. Okay, so once the chair cylinder is completely removed from the base and the chair top, basically we'll just put everything back together and replace the cylinder with a new one. So we'll grab our wheels and put them back into the chair base. And these specific wheels are rollerblade style wheels. If you're interested in upgrading or replacing your chair wheels, they can be bought on our website, theofficeoasis.com. And almost all office chairs, 95% of office chairs, just have this grip ring stem. Means it's just basically, in order to insert and replace wheels, all you need to do is pop them out and pop them in. And it's a very simple, easy process, no tools required. And these chair wheels are great for wood floors. They don't scratch any hard surfaces. They roll around smoothly, and overall a great upgrade for an office chair. So once the wheels are back in, we'll flip the base over, and then we'll take the new replacement cylinder. And this replacement cylinder, one thing to look at is to make sure you remove this top cap. Sometimes they don't have the cap, but really it's just for shipping purposes. So that way the cylinder doesn't expand during shipping. So we'll take that plastic cap off. In this case, it's a purple cap. It could be a different color. And then we expose right here is the button, or kind of the actuator of the cylinder. When you press this button down, it releases the cylinder, and that's what causes the cylinder to go up and down. So put the cylinder into the base, just like that. And then the next part is just putting the chair top onto the chair base. So you grab your chair top, and all you're gonna do is gonna line the hole with the cylinder and place it on top. And it'll sit in just like that. So once you've done that, you can usually grab the chair, put it on the ground if it's not already there. Okay, now that you have your cylinder fully replaced and the chair parts all back together, you can now test out the cylinder. And to simply do that is just to sit down in the chair and press the lift lever. It could be on the right side or the left side depending on your chair. And there we go, we have full lift to the top all the way to the bottom. So now you have a fully working office chair. So if you purchase one of our office chair replacement kits and you have any questions, concerns, or issues with the product, feel free to reach out to us. Our email is support@theofficeoasis.com. We'll get back to you super quick and help you with any questions that you might have. All right, thank you.